Right, this is, well, I think it's the bleeding screw for the secondary fuel filter, but what I'm going to do is put the pump on here. I'm going to try and suck fuel from there through that filter to there to get the air out of that filter and see how it goes. I'm making the tube a bit wider so that it fits into the threaded bit to do the sucking without sucking air there. Just get that nut there, Laura.
Right, ready?
Right, give it a suck, see what happens.
So what's happening here?
Okay, what I'm doing is I'm sucking fuel from the tank through the primary filter into the secondary filter to fill the primary filter up. You see, on the lift pump there's a little lever. I'll show you in a minute. That there is the lift pump. I don't know if you can see my finger there. And to get the fuel through, we have to move a little lever, which is a pain. So this is, I'll do fine more. That's lovely, that. And in fact, okay. Right, okay, what we've done is we've used the suction pump, which is used for oil changes, and I've put it into the top of the secondary filter, and I've pulled fuel from the fuel tank through the primary filter to the secondary filter to prove that there isn't any air leaks where we've changed the filter, where we've replaced the seals. So what we'll do is we'll look in a minute now and we'll see if there's any leaks from that filter, and if there isn't, we're happy with that, and then we'll change the secondary filter. Okay, that there is the lift pump, which lifts the fuel from the tank through the primary fuel filter up to the secondary fuel filter and into the injection pump. And the problem with them, if we try to use the ones on these 2020 and 2030 engines, the capacity is not very good, and it's very difficult to pump a large amount of fuel. That primary fuel filter holds about half a litre. And to pump that amount through would take us forever. So what I did is I used the oil change pump to suck fuel through the system to there, which avoided us having to use the lift pump to lift that half a litre of fuel into the filter. And now we'll just check to see if there's any leaks there, and I don't think there are. So we're
Yeah, I'm just up.
yeah, so away we go. Okay, basically this is a filter wrench, which when we put it on and we tighten it up, it adjusts itself to the size of the filter, and it gives it that little bit of extra leverage to undo the filter.
Or do you want the same
Hello,
one?
hang on.
Or do you want that?
Okay.
That's okay. The bits in there are from the edges of the filter itself as we were unscrewing it. The fuel was quite clean coming out. Throw that one away.
Yep.
Okay, I'm filming now.
Right, okay. Just get as tight as you can with it, a hand, and that'll be fine. Now what we'll do is we'll use the sucker to suck some more fuel through, and we will fill that up with fuel as well.
So do the same that you did
Do the
with
same as we
primary
did before, yeah.
Do you want that again to use?
Just keep it to one side, yeah.
Will this come out that pointy?
It should do.
Yeah. Is that the last of that now?
Yeah, that's it.
So I can empty this back in the bidon, yeah?
Yeah. And basically the idea is any dirt hits that first before it gets to this. And in actual fact, on my engine, because I'm quite confident of the cleanliness of my fuel, I only ever change this every year. I change that every 2 years, because that there protects that one. I'm taking the raw water strainer off because it's in the way of us getting to the oil filter. I'm also not happy at the way it's been fitted to the side, and whilst we've got it off, I might attempt to make a better job, shall we say. This is the oil filter, which is screwed into the side of the engine, much the same as the fuel filters are, and I'm taking this off, if I get it the right way.
Balance everything, isn't it? Thank you.
There you go. There's some oil in that. If you look through it through to the light, you can see it's clean. You can see through it. It's not dirty.
Sorry,
which
it's
is
just
good.
fluid. Yeah, it's not that dirty. It's
In fact, it's very clean.
fairly clean, yeah. It looks dark, but you can see that you can see through it. Oops. We usually put the dates on our filters when we change them, so when you come to do them again, you know the last time that you did them. Just gives you an idea of how long they've been on and remind you to check them.
See that black plastic thing there? Can you see where my finger is? Right, that there is a plastic cover on the oil extraction system. So we should carefully pulling it off. It only pushes on. The cover for the oil extraction tube on Volvo Pentas, they have a dedicated tube that you can fit to one of our pumps and just pump the oil out through this tube. So I've taken that off, and now I've got to fit the tube off the oil extraction pump onto it, and we'll pump the oil out of the engine. Into the tube.
Into the tube, so just peel it back.
Do you have to do that quite a lot then?
Yeah. The one on mine, I've got a dedicated piece of tube that fits in and just goes straight on. And then when I lend it to somebody, inevitably it comes back, where's my bit of tube? Oh.
Is that part of it? Yes. So I end up having to do. Is that enough?
Let me just test it. Right, that will go into that, and then I think it will push into. Yeah, if you carry on.
Taking it all off.
Yeah, and then I can push that into the tube in the engine.
Can I take it out of there again then?
Yeah. Right, now we are connected to the dedicated oil extraction pipe on the engine, which you can see down there. You can see it. Just by there. And now Laura is pumping, and we will see oil come out.
Well, once it starts to suction off, it keeps going until it runs out of suction. Then you just need to pump it a bit more to get the rest of it out.
So we are changing the oil as a matter of course. Normally it is normal to change the oil every 100 hours, which usually equates to a season's use. And the idea is that really you should change the oil before you put it away for the winter, in case there's any acids or water in there. But myself, I don't think it makes that much difference. I may be going against the sort of perceived wisdom, but that's what they say. That's what people say. But change the oil and filters once a year. I never checked the level before we started.
I was going to say, that's not as much as you thought. What's in there now?
I can't see.
It's not even 3 litres yet.
That's supposed to be 4 litres, isn't it?
We are 2.5.
to do, I think.
All out. As much as you can get.
Okay, for this engine, which is basically a Perkins engine, this engine was developed back in the mid-90s, and so the original specification for the oil was a straight mineral oil of CD specification API CD. Nowadays, of course, it's difficult to find that, and times have moved on. So we're using a bog standard 1540 multigrade oil, which you can buy anywhere. You don't need the expensive synthetic. This is fine for this engine, which, as I say, was designed back in the mid-90s, so doesn't require anything special. So here we go, 2.8 litres of nice fresh oil. Right, Laura,
Yeah.
can you do the
Like,
your little handy wandies, please, to hold that?
well, it's gone down.
Right, where's the... Just starting to show there, okay, bit more to go.
Well,
It's about by there, so it's at the lowest level now, so about another litre I should imagine.
yes.
Oh, it's at the level, that's it, that's fine. Yeah, that's good.
It's not focusing
See it
very well.
about
So
there.
Yeah,
where your finger is. Oh yeah.
yeah, that's good. A practical day skipper is engine checks, dipstick, fluid levels, etc, etc, etc. Got to change the alternator belt. So first of all, we're slackening the pivot bolt there, like that. There, and then we need to get down to these. This is the adjustment bolt. I don't know if you can see the adjustment slot there. There. So we slack that. We slack that.
Sorry, could you put that out again?
Yeah, that's the adjustment slot there, and this is the adjustment bolt there, and that's a pivot bolt there. So we'll slack those off, and then we'll see how we go from there. So now the alternator can swivel, and we can adjust it, get the belt off. Just a quick check. That's the sweet water pump, or the fresh water pump. Just checking that it's okay. No movement in it. The bearings are good. And now this is where Laura comes in.
Gosh, that is
Okay, not a lot of people realise it, but alternator belts actually drive on the side. They don't drive on the bottom. And what happens when the belt gets worn is that it then bottoms out, and because the drive is left off the V, because the bottom is touching, so the V can't get into the slot properly, it starts to slip, and it makes it worse and worse and worse. So V belts actually drive off the V. And if we do this, you can see how wide that tooth is compared with that tooth. So that means that this one is very badly worn, that it's worn the V's off, and so it's lost drive. And you notice when we started this, I turned the alternator without turning the engine, because the V, there you go. But that's the belt, that serial number. You can buy that from any motor factors.
yeah.
I'm just using the hammer as a lever to push out that there, so I can get it tight. Can you just hold that there for me, please, Laura? Don't put there, just a bit of pressure on it. Right. There we go. And there, you can hear the sound. Ding, 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 ding. That's tight enough. What will happen, because there's still some rust on there, is after it's run for about an hour or so, it'll become slack. All you need to do is just slacken those two off, and slacken that off there. Get a piece of wood or a hammer steel like I did, anything like that, just to push it outwards and just tighten it a little bit more. But that's good for now.
There's a seacock down behind the engine to the raw water inlet, and it is quite difficult to get because you've got to get over the top of the engine and down the bottom, and the inlet with the lever on is actually attached to the leg, or the top of the leg if you like, on the inside of the hull. So yeah, so it's got to be open when you start the engine. Although, because you've got to know where they are, haven't you? So
no, this is good, because I was curious as to where that was, because the surveyor, all he said, oh, it disappeared behind the engine. So when I thought, oh, we need to find out where that is actually. Right, here we have the seawater strainer, which takes out the big pieces before it can hit the water pump. So we've got a black pipe there, which comes from the sail drive leg, which accesses the outside seawater through a valve on the sail drive. It sucks raw water up through here, into here, from there through the filter, into the pump, from the pump to the anti-siphon valve at the back. From the anti-siphon valve at the back comes along here into the intercooler. Now then, the important thing that I wanted to get across was, if you ever get any weed or rubbish coming in, this is where it ends up. And as you can see, that there has got some rubbish in. So what we do is we'll get that out in a minute, and then when we run the engine, we'll keep the seacock closed, and I will pour water into this once the engine starts, and we can run it for a minute or so by pouring water into this with the seacock closed. Does that make, yeah? Right.
Just leave what we done with the little one.
I don't know. There you go. Oh, there's still water in there. Yeah. At some point in the future, that the surveyor made reference to the silencer. See that grey thing down there at the back? That grey plastic thing with a black rubber hose going to it. That there is the exhaust pipe, and that's the silencer. That needs somebody going in there to put a strap on it, to put some screws into the hole with a strap over to stop it moving around. And that's what we referred to. There's nothing wrong with it being in that position. It's fine, but it just needs tying down somehow. So I would suggest that if and when you get out to this, to make a little hatch here, then would be an opportune time to do something like that. You get weed and it comes up, it's sucked up, and
bits of grass and stuff.
Bits of grass, and it sticks there. It just comes through that hole and it stays there, and that's the purpose of it. It's a raw water strainer, and just lift that off occasionally, and just clean them out like so. As I say, I'm going to be pouring water into that when we get the engine going, just to do. Right, if we have a quick clean up, yeah? Okay, just one other point. The sail drive is made of aluminium. Don't use copper-based anti-fouling on it, because that copper and the aluminium react together, and it's not a good thing to do. So you need some special anti-foul just for that particular aluminium leg. Basically negative, small post, positive, bigger post. You can't go wrong. They won't fit, other than if they're correct. So we've put that on. I put a little bit of Vaseline on the posts just to protect it. And that's it. Just give it a bit of throttle.
Right.
Turn it on,
Yeah.
and turn it halfway.
Halfway.
There's a glow plug light on.
No. Yes, it is, yes.
Right, hold it on there for 30 seconds. So we're putting some glow plug on, that's the heaters.
Glow plug there, it's glowing. Yeah.
Okay, turn it, see if it'll start.
Oh, yeah.
Right, give us some throttle, Laura.
Water's coming out.
Give us some more. Okay, check over. Okay, switch it off, Law. Isn't it? There, Alison, you have a most wondrous, wonderful engine. Quiet, not noisy. Yes. Dead chuffed with that.
Yeah,
I really,
wicked
really
good.
am pleased with that. That is a good motor. Everything's gone according to plan.